Hello, 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 and welcome back to the RuPaul's Drag Race RuCap here on RHAP. We know reality TV. I'm one of your hosts, Beth. Nope, I'm not. I'm one of your hosts, Beth Dixon. I do know my name, Iman. Best Dixon. Boy, that came out like so egotistical, right? The best. Of course, I'm not alone. Aman, how are you today? Are you excited to be talking about episodes both 10 and 11 since we had to be a little MIA last week?
Yeah, I'm glad to be back. Yeah, sorry we missed last week. Life be lifing. Well, we're back. And we're here to talk about 2 episodes. So get ready because you don't want to miss this one.
That
Two for the price of one.
2 for 1. We got to buy one, get one, but it's just the one. So we're excited to be back. Yes, last week I had an unexpected passing in my family, and I just want to thank everybody for the well wishes and such that people extended. I want to thank Iman for your patience and such as well. But I'm excited because I feel like this season continues to deliver, Iman. I feel like we're getting good episodes, good drama. Sometimes we're getting that good old production riggery of it all, but I don't know. I think we have some pretty interesting plot points to talk about, especially last week we had safety pin gate, we had a reading challenge, we had Aman as a guest judge. Come on, we've had a couple of really big episodes.
Yeah, I think definitely the biggest stories from the design challenge are the Iman of it all, as well as safety pin gate. But I think at the end of it, I'm still kind of like wondering where this season is going to land. I think there's some obvious bottoms here that you can think are not going to make it. But like outside of that, I'm just like the competition really does seem to be fairly even across the board. And then even with this latest episode, I'm like, okay, like it's getting tooth and nail, bitch. So I'm excited, and I think that season what is this, 18?
18.
Has definitely been I feel like RuPaul.
Season whatever this is one of the best.
What's your name, child? Yeah, it leaves the intrigue, and yeah, I'm enjoying it so far.
And I think that even though we have Jane Don't as like such a dominant queen, I also don't feel like I have a winner's edit for her. Like she doesn't seem to be lauded by production as much as she is. She is in the sense that she's in the top, right?
Yeah.
But she's not being portrayed as some kind of Jinx Monsoon in All-Star 7 or Sasha Colby in 15. Like I just truly feel like we have someone who is really killing it. But I think that, if it weren't for Alaska's meltdown in All-Stars 2, I don't know if Alaska takes the crown. I don't think production just loves a steamroll. They love somebody kind of pulling it out at the end. I definitely could have seen a world where if Alaska doesn't flop at the very end of an All-Stars 2 and have that kind of like breakdown, that they don't give her the crown. Maybe they give it to someone like Detox, right? Who like was really consistent, was arguably the best one on the runway the entire season, right? So for someone like Jane, I don't think it's a slam dunk that she's going to win. I think that she's done really, really well, but I don't know. I see more of a winner's equity coming out of like Mikey right now than I do out of her. Aman, where do you feel for these 2 episodes? Do you feel like it is a slam dunk for Jane? Are you still feeling like there's some other people we could be looking at?
I do think that Jane obviously is very favorable in the edit right now, but I echo what you're saying in that there is like a bit of a piece missing to her story arc, because we haven't really seen a lot of struggle yet. We've kind of just seen her having doubts of herself, but still killing it. So I totally understand wanting to see that chink in the armor that Drag Race famously has been giving a lot of their winners. Like there's always like a down week where you're like, oh shit, bitch, you could go home. And I feel like we haven't necessarily got that yet for her. But I will say, I know that I said earlier in the season that like my dark horses were Darlene and Discord. Is looking like Discord is just a horse. she ain't no dark horse anymore. I think that Discord probably isn't long for this board because she has yet, after these past 2 episodes, to get a win. Yeah, exactly. But Darlene, and we'll get to it eventually, but she does have a win under her belt now, so maybe there is something there. But I do think that as the season has progressed, I am a lot more interested in a Mikey Meeks win because I think that there is more levels and dynamics to her time throughout the season. So I don't know. It's interesting. I think that these last few episodes obviously are going to inform us a lot more about what the judges are feeling and what production are feeling about these last few queens.
I also think, we look at these last 2 episodes and we have, even just with the mini challenges, Mikey and Jane are the ones that are like killing it, right? So we had in last week, we had the famous reading challenge. I was telling Iman before we jumped on, I honestly couldn't tell you what any of the reads were. Of course, I was not exactly in the mindset to remember stuff from last week, but I just remember Jane and Mikey doing well, and then everybody else having like one, either like, oh, that was like, I think Nini had one that I was like, that was really good, but it just like edit wise didn't fall well. So I feel like even in the mini challenges, we have like a Mikey and Jane being in the top 2 with surprising other people. Not surprising, but like Nini pulls it out sometimes. Darlene pulls it out sometimes. Juicy pulls it out sometimes. And I feel like they're kind of like this rotating who's the third if there's a top 3 at this point. I'm going to be very shocked if Jane and or Mikey are not in the finals, but pardon me, I just generally feel like this season, I'm really enjoying each week. I mean, the fact that Athena went a couple weeks ago, then the week after they have the mother and daughter go against each other for Fanny, the musical, right? The musical. Then we have a double Shantae last week.
Yeah.
So this is the best part. So let's talk a little bit about episode 10, because we talked about a little bit about the plot points. So we have the reading challenge, and did Mikey win that or did Jane? Mikey won, right? Because I feel like Mikey won this week, and I think she was like, another mini challenge win, I guess.
Yes.
I think so. I'm fairly confident. Correct us in the comments on YouTube. Go for it, please, please, please. So we have her winning, and then we have what the challenge was, which was they had to create a look before the season. They had to prepare like a luggage bag full of materials and things that they could create an outfit with. Now, some people, but I think most of them kind of assumed that there would be some kind of like riggery of it all, and there definitely was. So some of them planned for that, and you have someone like Sierra, who we know is like a very high concept, really great queen who can construct anything, uses prosthetics, a whole 9 yards, right? And so Jane chooses her box, and it is scraps. It's awful. It's unusable material, whole 9 yards. And Jane, because she's really good, can still pull it out, right? You have Athena, who uses basically no color, Briar, who uses like no color differences stuff. And I really enjoyed being able to see what the queens did with this. I enjoyed the competitive aspects of this that the queens did to plan ahead of time. What were your thoughts, Iman, on this challenge?
Yeah, I thought it was a lot. It was very interesting that the eliminated queens did have the chance to influence the competition in any way they saw how, and like which ones were like, you know what, let the queens let them do what they gonna do. I'm not gonna try to be petty. And then others were like, no, bitch, like if I'm sitting here in my hotel room, because they're in their hotel room still, like once you're eliminated, you don't go home until the end of the season. You are in your hotel room. That's
not actually 100% true.
Really? Oh,
Trixie Mattel, when she was eliminated from season 7, went home and then got a call to come back, and then boarded a plane and went back. And so there's God knows, I mean, that was 10 plus years ago at this point. So who knows?
It might be different, but at some point then it was probably more along the lines of like when you got eliminated, you were instructed to do this task. And so it's interesting. And if that's the case, it's like, what was the emotional state at that time when they were asked to pack these bags, and it's interesting to see the ones that were like, I'm going to leave my best materials versus the ones that were like, bitch, have these scraps. Let them eat cake.
What I loved about this is that this was actually a prompt that was given to every queen before the season. And so when they arrived to Drag Race, they had to drop off this bag, and then production held on to it. So I love that there were people who went into this competition and said, I already know, I'm going to put all this shit in there. And I can imagine for someone like Sierra or even Athena, who obviously knows her body like really well, they already had an outfit in mind of something they could do if they were actually stuck with this. But I think they had the foresight to go, nope, I'm going to fuck around with another person, because there's no way they just let us keep. Why bring the materials when I could just do that with my other bag? So I think that they all correctly assumed, no, we're not going to be playing this game. I love that. That's why I love this cast. This is a cast of people who are willing to play the game, Aman.
It's very strategic. It's very meta, and I think they want whoever is going to come out on top to have really, really earned it. If it's not going to be them, so yeah, it was definitely fun.
And the other
that have started without half of the queens even being in the room, iconic.
It was incredible, right? That's how you continue your name to be brought up, even if you go home early. So great foresight on people like Sierra and Athena and even Briar's thoughts. The other big part of this was in the briefing of the challenge. It says that you cannot use anything other than undergarments or the material for the dress. So you have to, anything that is accessories or anything like that, anything that you put on your outfit needs to be necessary in order to hold it together. So we have safety pin gate, Aman. We have Discord Adams, who says, well, why would I stitch anything together when I could just use safety pins to hold everything together? And used over 800 safety pins in her outfit. And I gotta tell you, Aman, I don't think she cheated.
Okay, interesting, because I think I had a bit of a debate with some friends of mine as well about this. So the rules, as you stated, were you're free to use your accessories, you're free to use your undergarments. So the question for me is, when do the safety pins cross the line from being an accessory over into being an essential part or structure of the outfit? And for me, because like when RuPaul initially said that, because I watched the episode twice and he went back and said that, and I was like, well, hold on. If these are accessories, then I think it's fair game. But then when you really look at her outfit, for me, they're no longer accessories, because they are part of the construction and the dimension of the outfit. It's sort of like if, let's just say, the entire dress was made out of safety pins, like, is it an accessory at that point, or is it just a safety pin dress?
So my thought process is a safety pin, just like hot glue or a stitch, is how you determine how something is going to look, right? By putting the material together. So this is no different than using a different kind of stitch to finish your linings, to do different things that the queens are already doing that they've been taught. What I like is that Discord said, I'm going to disrupt this idea. And if you look at her outfit, because I definitely paused it to be like, were every single safety pin necessary? Probably not. Okay.
Yeah.
That's where I do think you go a little overboard, right? And I think at some point it turns into a policing of which safety pins are actually important. But that's like going up to a queen at the sewing machine and going, was that stitch really important? Did you really need to add that one in there? And so I think what she did, so this is why I love Discord. She is the epitome of punk, because what she's doing is making you question what the rules are and really think about this from a big concept point of view, right? I agree that I think that there were probably way too many safety pins that were actually necessary on there. But the fact that production didn't stop her there, and they did stop her, we found this out on I think at Roscoe's, that she wanted to wear this bodysuit underneath, and production made her cut it off at like basically where the underwear was. So she instead wore really, really high thigh boots instead of this red undergarment. So they are still stopping queens so that they're not breaking the rules. If production's fine with it, y'all are just mad that you didn't think about creative ways to put your outfit together in a different way. And I see this as no different than Darlene doing a very different approach to this week.
Oh, that's a good point right there. That's a good point.
That's where I'm at. I'm very team Discord on this one. But what was interesting too, Iman, is that after safety pin gate, they have who should go home and why. Everybody says Discord, and Juicy is the one that lets the cat out of the bag. Well, those safety pins were not in that box. That should not be an accessory. Those were things that you just added yourself in order to put it together. So then we even have the judges kind of talking about it. And even Michelle's like, well, yeah, that makes me kind of question if she followed the brief or not. But again, like they're not even that bothered to not put her in the bottom. And then they say, y'all killed it. We're going to have a top 2.
Yeah, that's a good point too. Because it's like, if she doesn't follow the brief, I think if you've made that distinction, then that I think automatically warrants bottom because you didn't follow the same parameters that your sisters did. But it seems like they might have been more in line with your thinking ultimately because they liked the way that the dress looked. I liked the way that the dress looked. I thought it was very, very fun. I do think that maybe if you wanted to, besides the nitpicking of the safety pins, if you wanted to critique her on something else, because who did she choose again? Was it Mandy Mango?
I think it was sorry.
Mandy.
Yes, it was Mandy Mango.
If you wanted to say there was like completely no Mandy at all in this, that's fair because I look at that look and it's Discord all the way. Yeah. So I think that that's a fair critique. But if the safety pins are not the hang up, then and you guys like the dress a lot, then put her in the top.
That's also an important point because I don't know if the brief had to be representative of the queen that you got. I think it just had to be those are the materials that you got, right?
See, in my mind, it felt like it didn't have to. You didn't have to emulate Mandy, but there had to be elements of Mandy, and I don't think that there were because it was just so much safety. It was 95% safety pin and 10% mesh. You know what I mean? So
her outfit is a perfect comparison to how much water there is on Earth compared to land, where the safety pins are water.
Exactly.
So I just got to say that, like, I'm all about Discord continuing to disrupt the system, and I love that everything that she does is so true to this punk aesthetic, where it's like, you give me a rule, and my number one thing is going to be, how can I undermine, push back, change this idea, do the whole 9, right? How can I disrupt the system? So I just wanted to give her props for that personally. So I feel like those were like the main points from last week. We will go through each queen's look in the slideshow. Let's move to this week really quickly. We have a mini challenge where they have to put together, they choose a perfume that they're going to try to sell in like a TikTok video. And I gotta tell you, I love that they actually included in the mini challenge production RuPaul's
the reactions,
TikToks and reels, because if you are not following RuPaul, the coffee enema has been hitting. Okay, she has been so on one the past like year and a half online, and this is exactly what I feel like we've been missing. We've been missing RuPaul just being an absolute fool online, like we
being
know
manic as hell.
And this just makes it more fun to watch her as a judge and a host.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was just RuPaul fully embracing his philosophy of just like not taking anything too seriously and be willing to go there and engage with the queens and really flesh out these competitions. Because a lot of these mini challenges are wackadoodle. But with RuPaul participating, it gives it like a little bit of silly prestige, as it were. So I also really enjoyed that. That was a lot of fun.
Aman, I have to ask you. I have this new theory. I think
Mm-hmm.
RuPaul, every mini challenge is just a weekend that he did at his own house and then was like, what if we made this a challenge on Drag Race?
I would
I
not.
guarantee, don't you think he's like, what if we're at home and someone took a leaf blower and blew our faces open when we had safety goggles on and we just tried to make these glamorous faces?
I
Come on.
do not. Yeah, I agree.
This
I
is
would
my
not be
new
surprised.
this is my new canon. So anytime we have a mini challenge, just pretend that the weekend before this is what RuPaul did in his life, and then he was like, "Let's just make it a challenge on Drag Race for fun."
I
It's a great game.
So if you hang out with RuPaul on the weekends, do some crazy
Drop
shit
below.
first.
Tell us what your comments are. Yeah. What's the mini challenge going to be next week? Yeah. So they have to do that for the mini challenge. Mikey wins again. This is where I'm fairly confident she won last week as well, because we have this, I'm once again the mini challenge winner. I think she's won 3 mini challenges. And I felt like in terms of selling the videos themselves, I felt like Mikey, Darlene, and Jane were the best, and then everybody else did a serviceable job. It's like,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
But I think that also shows me again that Mikey, Darlene, and Jane are the ones that are consistently funny. Discord has her moments. Juicy, it depends on whether or not she's feeling her pussy or not. And if she's not feeling her pussy, that is a second grade student who is afraid to go up for the spelling bee, bitch. That is what she is like.
It's so Juicy's arc has been so interesting because she's been getting a lot of critique from RuPaul in particular about not really knowing who she is. The branding isn't there. Like, where is your point of view? And I do think that it is stifling for her. I mean, she's already, come clean about how, she's had issues with sobriety. And when you spend so much time being under the influence, it really you lose yourself and you have to find yourself again. So I think that she's still in the middle of that journey. So I think there are some weeks where she's in her element, and then there are other weeks where she's so in her head and so afraid of not being seen that she hides again.
Yeah.
And so it's I question a lot of the time her still being here because Ru, if you're really not getting the message, then why still keep her? I understand that she's a fierce dancer and she's winning a lot of these lip syncs, but just because she wins the lip sync doesn't necessarily mean that she needs to stay. So
tell that to Cameron Michaels.
I will tell that to Cameron Michaels over and over and over again.
And I will tell that to Coco Montrese. But this is the thing, right? Like, I feel like Juicy is actually bringing back what a lip sync assassin is truly, right? We've had this idea. Oh my gosh, even her drag mother Morphine, right? Everyone's like, oh, she's a lip sync assassin. Yes and no. I feel like Juicy is the epitome of a lip sync assassin. And I love that we have Alyssa Edwards in this episode, who is also the epitome of a lip sync assassin, to come in and talk about how in her first season, it was, this is my time to prove who I am, right? Juicy proves who she is when she lip syncs, because that is when she has a point of view the most. That is when she has a good sense of herself. What she's struggling with, which I think is normal for most people, let alone someone who's dealing with addiction issues at such a young age. I think we forget that her prefrontal cortex is not developed yet, people. She's like 21 or 22 or something like that. She's still growing, and on top of having addiction issues, that's affecting a lot of those parts too. You're dealing with someone who is not like fully come into her own as a person, let alone like physically, let alone mentally and emotionally. So what we're doing is we're watching somebody in true time that I really truly feel like, I really hope they don't treat her like Georges and keep bringing her back so much immediately. I want her to have 2 to 3 years of just killing it on tour, of really showing people who they are. And I want her to come back like Bosco. I want her to come back after a few years and be like, this is what you were almost seeing, but I had some time to grow and be on the road and be by myself and be with some drag sisters and get some fame and get some validation and get some money. Not that I feel like she's missing that, because my God, these costumes are gorgeous. Right. But yeah, I feel you.
Yeah. I think a little bit more time to bake, a little bit more time to come into your own and to understand like your place in this community, I think would really serve her well. Because I do think that there is a lost child in there that is trying her best to give people what they want, but like it's got to be more about like what you want. And when she survives that lip sync and Nini says that to her, like, well, now you done beat your mama, so you're on your own, sis. Like, you're out the nest, so figure it out. Like, what is it that you want to do that has nothing to do with the House of Dion? Like, who are you, Juicy?
Yeah. And I think that she finds that almost triggering. And I wouldn't blame her for feeling that way. If that is something that is triggering in your own life, of course it hasn't manifested yet into your art. Your art is a reflection of that. So your art is not we see the shades of it, right? Because you see the shades of it. You know when you were most alive, when you're performing and dancing, that you've had dance training and been up in the dance studios your whole life, right? We know that aspect of it. But we also know that, especially with artists who have been in such demanding art from a young age, often they have a very warped idea of self because they have not had a normal upbringing, quote unquote, in the sense of they've been held to such a high standard at such a young age. And so when they don't live up to any little thing in other parts of their lives, but especially in the thing that is most sacred to them, their art and expression, it's like, who am I then? Right. Yeah. So I think there's a lot here that I want to make a documentary about Juicy and just be like, this is why she's,
Juicy is burning.
But this main challenge is amazing because we get a roast, but we also get a toast because, as I said to Iman before we started, Alyssa Edwards said, you guys can do a roast, but you also got to toast me, mama. You got to get up.
I need to get up in this toast, girl.
I need to get my flowers because I've been a mentor, a leader, a teacher, and you know what I mean? Like that is what, Alyssa was like. And RuPaul laughed and said, bet. So this is the toast and roast of Alyssa Edwards, who looked stunning.
Amazing. I love Alyssa. She is one of the best contestants to ever appear on the show. Someone that has like set the tone for many, many seasons after she's already been gone. I have not watched Global All Stars, and there's a lot of critiquing about Global All Stars. I do plan to watch it, even though I know the ending already. So I know that there might be a little bit of like, oh, it was rigged for her to win in the beginning, and I will take that. But I'm still happy that she has one crown, because
one crown that didn't get taken away from her. That's just love. That's just love.
Surgically removed,
I gotta tell you, just as a side note, I probably have told this story on the podcast before, but back in 2017, I went to the second ever Werk the World tour. The first one was in Toronto, the second one was in Montreal, and I went and got to do the wig in the bag, and I got to lip sync. I had to be Beyonce. So as Bianca, who was hosting it, said, she was like, we got white Beyonce up here. And then after I finished, she was like, you've been taking Zumba classes, bitch. So that was funny. But when I got off the stage, when we were leaving, Alyssa was sitting there on a stool with like her posture and was on the phone with somebody. And she was talking and she went, you killed a girl. You killed it. And then just continued on. And I was like, the fact that Alyssa Edwards just told me I killed it.
I love that.
It was so funny. But anyway, so I just had to say that I love Alyssa Edwards so much. I feel like she's the perfect kind of roast target because everybody already roasts her. She roasts herself. She's a good sport about it.
Yeah.
She knows that
she takes it very well. She can give it. I mean, even though Jay Jolie would protest, I feel like Alyssa can give it, but she can never take it. Like, I disagree. I think that Alyssa is down to just get into the gutter with you, like, and she will spar, and I live for that.
And you know what I love the most is that in Untucked and everything, I think she gave some of the best advice ever of not just being on Drag Race itself, but being on any reality show. Is that a part of being on this is understanding you're on TV. Is understanding that We can be serious and you can make fun of me and I can make fun of you and we can have our real problems here because the cameras are rolling and that's going to be some good shit. But when we are sisters outside of this, bitch, just call me. Just talk to me. Let's break it down. Let's do this thing, right? So I love that she sat back and she said, yeah, be shady. Have your moments. Be real. Whatever. But also understand that, like, it ain't that serious. Have real life. And I also love that she talked about what do you do when you know you're about to go lip sync for your life? And she was like, I just always said, okay, I've already been in the bottom. Why am I upset about being in the bottom? I'm about to show them what I do. This is what I do. I get to come on now and be given a stage to perform and show off who I really am and who I really truly feel like I am.
And I feel like that's so like reflective of just like a lot of people's queer journeys anyway, because it's like a roast being in the bottom. Like there's probably not a lot of things that someone could say to you, at least in my experience. There's probably not a lot of things that someone could say to you that you probably already haven't said to yourself. So it's about like already being in that position of like self-deprecation to allow others to point out those flaws without you being utterly destroyed. And again, I'm not talking about someone like deliberately being verbally abusive. I'm just saying like, you know, I think the reason why shade and roasting is such a staple in the queer community is it because, again, like they say all the time, it is a form of love. It's about like, bitch, you may be a little fat, but bitch, I love you, bitch. Even though you be eating at McDonald's every fucking day. Like, it just is what it is. It's just like putting out the obvious and being like, bitch, matter of fact about it. And like putting a humorous spin on it. That's all that it is. And so like,
can I tell you why that's important, Iman? Can I tell you as a fellow queer person why that's important? Because I don't think you get it, even though you're saying it out loud. No. The reason is, I'm going to tell you the truth here, okay? We live in a world where we are graded from the time that we are truly conscious of being told if we're top students or not, if we're good people or not, with citizenship awards, participation awards, all these different kinds of things. We are told from the age of what we need to do. But then queer students or students of color or kids of different religions or identities and such are already othered. So they already know I got to climb an extra little mountain just to be given the same kernel of respect, even though I should be getting more respect because I had a harder climb, right? So when we have people who are willing to take the worst parts of ourselves, quote unquote, I'm going to put it out there. There's no crime about being fat. There's no crime about being black. There's no crime about being queer. There's no crime about any of those things.
Yeah.
But when we go and we say, oh my God, Iman, you're whatever, we just take something of you that even if you're like, yeah, this is a flaw of mine, what we're saying is, I see this for you and I fucking love you regardless, or I love you because of this. I'm validating that I see this too, because what I think we miss in this world more than anything is people being straight up and truthful and honest. We are not perfect human beings. We are not always good people. So when we have someone who points out a negative and still chooses to say, and bitch, I love you because of that. You're annoying as fuck because you don't shut the fuck up, but I love you. Like, yeah, when I have moments where I'm like, damn, I wish I would shut the fuck up, I still have people who love me because of that, and I don't have to go into a hole worrying about it. Instead, I can face that with people and say, okay, now that we're not joking, what are some things I could probably do to help this a little bit? And then you're going to have other people who go, bitch, you don't need to help it. That's just who you are. Fuck off. You know?
Yeah. It reminds me of the famous Mean Girls quote, I don't hate you because you're fat. You're fat because I hate you.
Poetry. Just true poetry. Right there. But it's true. I think that, this is why people love Drag Race in particular, because yes, we're talking about the queer community, and then so many different kinds of intersectional identities on top of that. But I think that every human, like, I identify this with friendships, relationships, my family or whatever. if I don't have people who also tell me negative things or constructive feedback, I don't trust them when they give me compliments. It's this thing that I need to work on for myself. I don't
Mm,
trust people who are only complimentary. And
yeah.
what sucks is that I tend to be only complimentary.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like
Mm,
a snake eating its own tail kind of thing. But I know that I think a lot of other people feel that way. Like, how can I trust you what you're saying is true with all the positive shit if you also don't take a moment to recognize that I have imperfections as well,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah. I well said. Well said.
Anyway, thank you for this after school TED Talk here where we're talking about identities and queerness. Uh, let's chat a little bit about this challenge. So we have the roast. Mikey wins uh the mini challenge, so she picks the order. The order is Discord, Jane, Juicy, then Darlene, Nini, Kenya, and Mikey.
Yes.
And before we go into each queen, which I'll bring up all the slideshows, we'll talk about them from the design challenge, and then I'll do the next slide, and it'll be this week's roast challenge. I just wanted to talk about how they did the workshopping of jokes this week. I'm a huge fan of this. Spoiler alert, Aman. They had all the queens at a round table with Atsuko,
Mm-hmm.
and Michelle. And
Mm-hmm.
so they all got to hear the critiques and take notes and such. I'm a huge fan of this, Aman.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they loved what they got last time with Arietti stealing jokes, and they were like, maybe we can recreate some drama like that, or at the very least, if we have these queens hearing the other queens' material, it could spark some type of like rewriting or get them in their head a little bit, or like just it really puts the pressure on them to really be in the moment thinking about what it is they need to change about their set. And I like that
Yeah.
that we had a professional comedian there in Atsuko. I do think that Michelle talked a little bit too much. I wanted to hear a little bit more from
Atsuko like didn't
Atsuko.
say anything.
Not a damn thing. I don't know if it's because maybe she's just not very talkative, maybe she's a bit quiet, and so that's just kind of what happened. Or if it was just Michelle just like taking charge of the room. If it was the latter, Michelle, just for a second, we want to hear the professional here. But yeah, other than that, I agree. I do like that they all got a chance to sort of preview what the other queens were going to do, because yes, you get the material, but you don't necessarily always get the delivery, because it was such a rehearsal setting that they were kind of just reading off of what they had, and it was very hesitant because they weren't sure if they were going to get the laughs. But then when you switch it over to how you present it, that really makes these jokes take a life of their own, and there's no way to really predict how that's going to go down. So yeah, I thought that this was a very interesting.
I also think it gives people an opportunity to hear critiques and hear feedback when they're not in the limelight. I actually think this really helps the girls in a lot of ways. I think that there's been a lot of things they've done this season from a production standpoint. Now that RuPaul's Drag Race for many seasons has been like a snake eating its own tail, it's, we're referencing ourselves over and over and over. It's like the most self-referential show of all time. It's just one of those things where we have to find little things that are going to help the queen stand out, so it's not just like season whatever all over again or whatever, right? So I like that they said, okay, what if instead of having the queens come out one by one where they only have a notebook and they're just standing there in front of two people at the edge of a stage, we give them some downtime to actually hear other people's critiques that might help them with their own set writing. We want this show to be funny. Production wants it to be successful.
Yeah.
Or they want it to be the biggest flop of all time so they can make incredible TV of RuPaul yelling at the girls, right? But I don't think in today's political climate, they want to go for the yelling at girls shakes queer situation, or the season 14, everyone's in the bottom except for, Deja Sky situation. I think they genuinely want Snatch Game to go well. So they give the queens confessionals. right? And Snatch
Yeah.
Game. This time we're going to give them an opportunity to hear other kinds of feedback so that they're not in the spotlight. They can write things down, or they can think about things a little differently. Or maybe that note that they just said to Kenya is actually going to really help me, or whatever. So I
Yeah.
really, really like that. I actually think they did it to prevent the stealing of jokes, because we even have Michelle go, "Oh, Discord, what are you writing over there? Are you copying down some of those jokes?" And she's like, "Yeah, I was really stealing that splat joke from Darlene." And we were all like laughing about that. But again, I think that this is how they say, like, now I know, like, it is out there that there's a reason if you steal these jokes. Ariette did it. You could argue that she tried to be strategic. There's nothing strategic about this now. Now you just
Yeah. You're just being a bitch ass thief.
The best part is Ariette didn't even do a good job at it. So
yeah, she butchered the delivery on that. That was crazy.
I mean, how do you make those jokes worse is what I wanted to know.
Yeah.
So we are going to go ahead and talk about each queen individually for the past 2 weeks. We'll start with their outfit from last week that they made from the materials that were left from their eliminated sister, and then we'll talk about their roast performance. Mikey Meeks is our first one. Last week, she had Briar Blush's box that had mostly just navy and black in it, and I really, really like this outfit. It's like Aspen inspired. I gotta say, overall, I felt like every queen did this challenge justice, Iman.
Yeah, I agree. I think that they did such a good job. Is this navy or is it royal blue? Maybe it's just like a lighting thing that maybe it looks navy in person. Because I was like, they kept saying navy, and I was like, this looks a little bit too rich to be navy. But I do love the look. I do love the form-fitting black bodysuit of it all. It really adds so much, like it helps the blue pop. I think she did such beautiful craftsmanship on the cover-ups for the heels. The earmuffs are so cute. The little, like, I don't even know what you call the thing around the hands, like
hand muff. It's a muff.
Hand muff. There we go.
Earmuffs and hand muffs.
Hand muffs. Yes, I thought it was just so fun and just like wintry couture. I loved it.
This is like 2026 Fran Fine goes to Aspen. I love this idea of, like, I get a sense of Fran Drescher in The Nanny from the 90s.
Like
but
rich woman going to the Olympics.
Yes. That's amazing. Yes. Side note, The Nanny is my favorite show of all time. And they could literally bring that back, absolutely ruin it, and I would still love that show.
Oh, Mr. Sheffield.
Mr. Sheffield. I can't do her voice. I just sound like Lois Griffin instead. I go, "Oh, Peter, I got this far."
Okay, Peter.
Okay. All right. This week we have Mikey in. By the way, this week's runway is swept away, so they had to have a flowing outfit that they had this huge wind fan in the front of the seat. Mikey comes out in this wonderful ensemble, and I think she said it was like 20 yards of chiffon that was behind her. Looks beautiful. It's a different color for her. Safe look, I would say.
Yeah, they were kind of gagged over this look, and I was like, it's okay. She looks good. It's fine. I feel like I was being targeted, though, because my two favorite colors are orange and navy, and I'm like, what's going on, Mikey? Are you like trying to... Are you flirting with me?
Syracuse University. Let's go orange. Can you tell them from upstate New York?
Yes. But yeah, I thought it was, you know, and she obviously beautiful, but I was just kind of surprised that the judges took to it the way that they did, because I felt like there may have been a few stronger looks than hers.
Yeah.
Her performance in the roast, good. It was good. Obviously if Darlene hadn't been so wackadoodle, I would not be surprised if maybe she had won, but also Jane Don't did a really good job. So like, I thought she was good. I thought that, you know, the repetition in comedy is always king, right? So her delivery of the hand on the shoulder or the hand on the chin, it was always going to like get the laugh. So I think that she chose a spot to stay in, and she did a good job of being in that spot.
It's so funny because in comedy they say repetition's great, but we've also seen on the show that the judges don't always like repetition. And I think the fact is for people who don't quote unquote get it, it can be very hard to hear that and be like, what the hell? I did repetition and it didn't work or whatever. The point is you have to do repetition with so much confidence that even if it's silent in the room. So I think that this week showed us exactly who is a performer and who isn't.
Yeah.
The people who were able to take their nerves, their floppage, their whatever, and then go, I got to do something more with this, or I just got to lean into it and I got to be unapologetic about it, soared. And the people who took even an ounce of self-consciousness and let it take over their body, they flopped, right? Mikey would have flopped, I feel like, had she not completely rewrote everything. And I think that she and Darlene did a really smart thing, which was, okay, I can't rely purely on my joke.
Yeah.
So what's something I can do? Mikey came up with a character bit. Love. Darlene came up with, I'm gonna be a kooky bitch.
Banana.
Which is, I would say, 80% of the time, RuPaul loves it. Other times he'll be like, what did you mean you made a fart joke? You're out of here. Then we're going to have a whole fart challenge.
I really didn't know how it was going to go for her. I was like, they seem to be laughing, but is it too far off the prompt? Is she roasting or is she just being crazy up there? Like, is it? But I guess it was just enough for Ru to be like, you know what, bitch? I'm going to hand it to you, because I was laughing the whole time. Like, and, you know, obviously Alyssa also laughing at her because it was just so out of the ordinary. So props to Darlene for that. Not to, you know, critique her too much too early, but like she found that happy medium, because I did not know where that was going to go. I really didn't.
I wrote down some of my favorite reads, and so the jokes that people said. I tried to only do one per person. So my favorite one that I wrote from Mikey was, now we're here to toast a mentor, an inspiration, a teacher. And that is why, most likely why Texas is last in education.
Yeah, that was good. That was
now,
good.
my delivery isn't anywhere near as good as hers, and I also paraphrase some of these, but I loved Mikey's set. I thought that her rewriting it and leaning into a bit was definitely a good move. I don't think she should have won the challenge. I think she was, for me, very third place. I think that there could have been a case if you wanted to, but I don't think that her, I think that this was just strong, but not win-worthy, in my opinion, for her roasting.
That's fair.
Next up for last week, we have Darlene Mitchell, who was safe. She had Athena Dion's box, who basically was like, here's some zebra print in black, bitch. Good luck.
And luck be a lady tonight, because she turned this out. Like, at first glance, it does look rather simple, but then, like Michelle pointed out, when you look at the rouging and the way that she made that material look stuffed, because she actually did stuff it, just amazing. It looks so high fashion, so high class. It was appealing to the nostalgia of pretty much all the judges, especially Iman, RuPaul, and Michelle.
Mm-hmm.
So I think she just really ate this up. And y'all know I love the 80s, so anything that's 80s coded, I'm gonna be like, yes, bitch, take me back, even though I was never there.
And I love that she always goes for a bold wig choice that doesn't always look like what every other drag queen is going for. And sometimes they're flat wigs or hard wig front lines or whatever. Mm-hmm. But they work and they go with her image. And I think that this is such an important thing to remember, is that we've turned into RuPaul's most polished drag queen race rather than like RuPaul's artistic drag representation race. And I truly think Darlene, I continue to root for her, because not only is she clearly just having fun, and she is just expressing herself without confines of what that needs to look like. And then we get these shades of high fashion moments, and then we get these shades of just utter, who the fuck would think of that? And I love that in my drag race. You know, I don't want to always just watch the most polished queens, or the queens that come with like all the different, you know, pageant titles, or all the comedy shows already written or whatever. I like seeing this queen go, I've been doing this for fun for me, and now I'm going to come on the show and do it for fun for me as well. I think that that's how you have to go into a show like this. You know, Aman, they say if you go on Big Brother or Survivor or anything like that, you have to be okay with going home first, and you have to do that with Drag Race too, right?
Yeah.
But with Drag Race, it's like you gotta go for yourself and for nobody else. Don't go for RuPaul. Don't go for your family and friends at home. Don't go for your house. Don't go for whatever. Go for you and have fun, because it's going to be hard and it's not always going to be easy and it's not always going to be delightful.
Yeah.
But just be silly and have fun.
Yeah, I think you need to go in there. Yeah, like what you just said, just being okay with whatever happens.
Yeah.
Because I think that's the only way to not psych yourself out. Like, of course, want the competition, want the win, but smell the damn roses while you're at it.
Yes. And when you decide to have fun and just decide to go balls to the wall with whatever you are choosing to do, it is very hard. Even if you end up going in the bottom and going home, you might end up being somebody that the fans are like, she was robbed. At least she went and she did her own thing. This other person did the same thing 15,000 times, and it's not even her idea of what her drag is. It's just what she thinks other people want her to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that I think that Darlene just has a really unique perspective that we don't get to see often on Drag Race, and I personally am very attracted to that as a Drag Race viewer.
I think that she's bringing justice to a lot of the bedroom queens, as it were. I mean, obviously, she's a bit of a hybrid because she's done both, but I think she's out here for the girls that aren't necessarily out there in the clubs all the time, because they can't be, because she's choosing a life of sobriety.
Absolutely. And I think that that's important too, as we are finally entering an age where queer people don't have to be hiding in basements watching drag shows in speakeasies and that kind of thing. And we despite legality reasons and in the media and such, like, we're much more open and visible with who we are. I love that we have someone who's like, I'm gonna be open and visible with, because listen, we got people who are openly like pedophiles in this world being open about who they are, and you can't be open about who you are as somebody who just loves another person because they happen to have the same genitals or whatever that you do. Fuck off. But so Darlene this week, this in the swept away, this like outfit is so ridiculous. She is the epitome of ridiculous, but also kind of make it fashion to me. She has just such a really good eye for this. This is not my favorite outfit of the runways, but I think that it concept wise works well. This kind of like power suit, but make it a little Barbie doll-esque in like the way that people won't actually wear this, but Barbie might. Why not? Like I that's how I kind of channeled her a little bit this time.
It's okay. I think it's sort of a little similar to what we just saw. This similar kind of silhouette almost, but it is flowy. I think the characterization was really what brought it together for me, being about to be blown by the wind all the way away. So I think that was really the performance and execution really helped. And then, like we said during the roast, like, girl, she found her lane, and she killed it. And I should have known better, because during the preview for this episode, they made it seem like she was going to be in the bottom, and that should have been the number one clue that was a mislead or a misdirect. So
come on, red herrings.
I
felt like she did. I obviously, not obviously, but I am subscribing to the political win theory. I do think that she wins mostly because we either then got to give another win to Mikey and Jane, and here is Darlene, who's been doing mostly well throughout the competition, but hasn't secured a win yet. She's been in the top a few times. She's been in the bottom 3 a couple of times, but she's mostly been pretty safe. This is a great opportunity to give someone a win, not necessarily for the jokes, but or for the roast, but for how she handled the roast, which was from the time we were in the workroom, she's making herself laugh. Okay. And so if you watch her when she's performing, she's shaking. You can see that she's nervous. She's holding the banana and it's shaking, right? But she's also and that's fine. You can be nervous and shake. Who gives a shit? She has the most bold smile on, and she's just leaning into it, and you don't even worry about the nerves anymore. This just shows you that it's like the same thing when like they say like, hey, if there's someone who's kind of crazy in the street and they come towards you, be crazier. You know, like one of those things. And people rarely do it because they're like self-conscious about it, or what is this going to bring? I love that she was just like, I'm gonna be crazy. Who gives a shit? Burger, banana. I love that, and I agree with RuPaul. I say whatever you can about RuPaul, and God knows I do. RuPaul can identify when a bit can be taken for the rest of her life. That is absolutely a comedy act she could build upon and travel the world doing. And it could be improv or it could be something planned. It's kind of like what Jimbo did with the slices of ham and that outfit, right? It's just there's a zaniness to it where she's given permission that she can say and do whatever she wants.
Yeah. It's the unabashedness to go there and to fully commit, and to know that what you're doing is strange but not caring.
Yes.
I think is what really the uninhibitedness is always. I mean, that's what RuPaul preaches all the time. So,
and think about it. The people in your life who you are more likely uplifting, whether they're online or in your actual lives, like the people that you know, it's the people who are unapologetic. It's the people who are just fiercely who they are, that you often are drawn to them, even if it's drawn to like, what the fuck are they doing? Because they're giving themselves permission. If there's anything I've really learned in my own personal healing journey over the past few years, it's only about giving yourself permission to do things that you didn't think that you'd be allowed to do.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Who said you're not allowed to just pull random plastic fruit out of your purse in the middle of a roast challenge, flap your jokes, and then just do, like, she turned a challenge that she was not going to be good at into something that was really odd and funny and captivating. That's how you win a challenge. It doesn't have to be what the brief in front of you says is, this is how you win this challenge, write the funniest jokes. No.
Unless it's safety pins.
Apparently. But then we have to have a discussion about at what point, right? So, but this, I just wanted to give her a lot of props because I am not mad at her winning this week. I'm happy that she got the win. I don't think if she was the best, no, I wouldn't have given it to her. But she's the one that stands out the most. She's the one that we're going to remember from years and years and years.
Yeah.
It's going to be the random food shit that came out of her purse. Love. Huge.
Absolutely.
I'm happy she got a win. Kenya pleaser, Iman. Last week, I've been waiting for this Kenya.
Yeah. I thought that she did a great job. I think that she knew exactly where she needed to be in terms of casting for the Rusical. She brought such good energy, and her voice was the one that needed to be the MC of that ball. So I don't necessarily know if she should have been in the top, but
well, remember that last week was the design challenge.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm like mixing my.
But I agree. I mean, if you go back a couple weeks ago, we said the same thing. We're not sure she should have been in the top for the MC role, but she really so we come off of that win and we come into this week where she proves bitch does know how to sew.
She does know how to sew, and it was very, very form fitting to her body. It accentuated everything that I needed to accentuate. And she presented it again. It was the execution on the runway. I mean, even Iman was like, she looks like she's having fun, and therefore you are having fun. And I believe that, like, the charisma is there. So yeah, I'm glad that she got her top.
Yeah.
I think that she deserved it. Obviously, she couldn't pull it out in the lip sync. And I think part of it is because of the fact that she's been in the bottom so many times. We were kind of used to some of the moves that she does. If this had not been her like third time lip syncing, right, I think that we would have been a little bit more interested. But it just it wasn't what it wasn't. So yeah.
I think that her only issue in the lip sync last week was providing levels. She did kind of the same thing the entire time, and Jane gave us a little bit of level intensity change, where at times she was really into it, and then at other times she was having a good old time like Patti LaBelle does, right? Bounce around the stage, have a good time kind of thing. Not like Donna Summer's bouncing, but like she has a lot of energy, but she's also like not looking like Pink flying around a bowl, right? Like she does her own kind of relaxation into dancing, and I felt like Jane was better at providing those levels. I gotta give Kenya all the damn flowers in the world. Y'all know that I have felt like she's probably had to go for a little bit. Last week, I loved the confidence that she had. I loved that. I mean, she has one of the most beautiful faces in drag. She genuinely does. It is so gorgeous. This huge afro with like the little fascinator matching the rest of this beautiful disco outfit was so incredible. It is form fitted to the T. It is flattering. It hugs every curve in such a beautiful way. She has the exact placement where she should have velvet versus sequin. It is so good. And that is hard to make with any body shape, let alone one that has a little, okay, where do I have to make it bigger in the thigh? Where do I have to make it bigger in this butt? Where do I have to do up here? This is infinitely harder than any skinny queen trying to do this outfit. Infinitely harder. And so, yeah, I know that Jane Don't had a lot to do with putting all these different patches and such together for the dress. We'll get there. I never want us to shut up about how much harder it is when you don't have control over how many or how much of the material there is and if it is stretchy or not. She made it work. It's beautiful. It looks like she had it made for her. She doesn't look like she just put it together.
Yeah.
I think standalone, I would have given her the win last week.
It looks professional. Well, I mean, it is professional. I mean, this is a professional drag queen, right?
Absolutely.
So the bell bottom construction is just so it's fantastic. She did a great job with this outfit, and I'm glad that she got the love that she deserved, for sure.
So let's look. This is Studio 54, Kenya. This is EDM rave.
Yeah, I was here to say it's like
3 a.m. after 2 days of raving, Kenya.
Yeah, it's giving Winx Fairy type deal. I prefer the prior look, but this one is not bad. She's giving raspberry sorbet with this look, and I appreciate it. You know, she's in the bottom.
Her face even shows you that she does not like this outfit. When she was on the runway, she was like, I'm wearing it.
I like how the wings are giving waterfall. I mean, I feel like it should give windfall. Get that it's supposed to be swept away, but it's fun.
Swept away in the water.
I can see the flapping. I can see the lift. I see the vision. The roast, yeah, I think I agree with the judges that the delivery was there. You wanted to listen to what she had to say because her voice is very commanding and charismatic. But as Trinity the Tuck would say, where are the jokes? They were just very lackluster. Yeah, I don't know.
So I do not like this outfit. The only thing I like about it is the color. This color looks so beautiful on her. I like that it's different from anybody else's colors and that kind of thing. All right. I was a little zooted when I watched this. When it came to the lip sync and they turned the fans on. Why they had to do that to Kenya?
Yeah, they tried to blow her ass to Oz. That was crazy.
I was crying with laughter because I was like, oh my God, Juicy looks so beautiful. And then it looked like Carmen in her eyes and the being wind blown in like the first photo challenge of season 4. Like it was so what you order on wish.com versus, you know what I mean? Like it was, oh man, the just little tiny little streamers that were like floating versus this entire huge, beautiful like balloon that she was able to shape around her perfect artistic. I mean, Kenya didn't stand a chance. There was nothing that she could do. And I think that she kind of knew it. I feel like she was kind of defeated going into that. And I'll be honest, if I were her and I knew that my costume was not going to do what my contender's costume was, it's time to make this a comedy lip sync.
Yeah.
But I don't think she had it in her.
Yeah. I think she, when you're in the bottom so many times, I mean, her and Juicy, at some point you're like, okay, well, the writing is on the wall. So
I gotta say, I'm happy that she had a couple strong weeks before she went out. Like it wasn't like she just had this like always in the bottom.
Yeah, and this is around the time that most people in her position usually do go out. Like we've famously seen that the narrator of the season typically is gone like a couple weeks before finale. So, as far as that category is concerned, girl, you did spot on. So
I meant to say this with Darlene, but Darlene had a joke that I really liked. That was when she said to RuPaul, she said, RuPaul, I can confidently say that gerbils aren't off the table with you. That really killed me. I did not write down any jokes from Kenya.
Neither did Kenya.
Yeah. Moving on to Juicy Love Dion from last week, looking like Beyonce in Solange Knowles coming out here. Don't you think?
I truly do think that. I agreed with Iman, though, for a lot of this look, that it was a little too heavy at the bottom. I am proud of her for putting this together because, a lot of the stuff that we have seen thus far was tailored for her because, she's a skinny little itty bitty thing. So, the fashion gurus are going to have a field day with her body type. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought that she did a good job in the construction. It's just I think her sisters really had her beat for a lot of what was going on with those other looks. So yeah, just but good for Josie though. Good for Josie. I think that it was definitely a stronger week for her after being down in the dumps so much,
This was a good redemption week for her, to come out, look good, be safe, show and prove to herself that in a sewing challenge where she does not have any kind of strength normally, this is the kind of thing that's going to really allow her to just kind of stand out on her own, right? So I love this color hair on her, this kind of like orange, brassy, ginger kind of color looks so good with her skin tone, and the fact that it also looks good with the silver, I think, is what really makes everything pop. She knows how to paint. This to me was a really, really, really good outing for her. That said, last week I felt like everybody did a good job. I felt like this deserved to be safe. Definitely did not deserve to be in the bottom, but there were definitely stronger ones. Other than her.
Yeah, I like that RuPaul was very adamant about like, we're splitting hairs here, y'all.
Yeah,
like, y'all all really killed this, so we have to nitpick
for sure.
Yeah.
This week in the roasting challenge, oh, Juicy.
There was just no confidence. There was no confidence at all. The tone of voice was very defeated, as if she knew that it was not going to land because, she'd already had a little bit of the critique during the judging. And to be honest, I think she looks beautiful in this look. But it's like, I think one of the judges joked that that's just a fitted sheet behind her blowing in the wind. Like that, what? Yeah. That did most of the heavy lifting for me. Like, I don't know if like maybe I needed it to be the same color as the dress to make it a little bit more dramatic, or it just felt very like, well, let me just hold this up as it blows. Like, I guess all of them did that in a way, but hers felt very like
disconnected from the outfit in any way. Like it's not even connected.
Cheap. Yeah, like I wasn't here for it at all.
I agree. I definitely think that while she looks beautiful, this was the effectiveness of this didn't come to play until a lip sync happened.
Yeah.
Then it was, okay, you've seen Juicy, but have you seen Juicy have a massive command of this beautifully moving material behind her?
Was this the first time they did Total Eclipse of the Heart? It was,
sorry?
right?
Yeah, it was Total Eclipse of the Heart, yeah.
Was this the first time they've done that? I think so, right?
I think so. I could be wrong. It might have been like
I was just kind of shocked. If it is the first time, I was just kind of shocked. I was like, this is such a total song that should have been on. Yeah, it's such a total song that should have been on Drag Race after 18 seasons. But yeah, you know, I was just kind of like, oh, this is my jam. They haven't done this yet? Okay, interesting. Okay, all right.
And it was funny too, because both her and Kenya did very different interpretations of. Juicy did it from this like turn around and see how much pain you've caused me kind of feel, you know? And Kenya was this like turn around, please kind of feel. And it was very interesting because I would not have placed Juicy. I didn't like that approach in the very beginning. I liked what Kenya did. But the moment they turned on that fan, I could not help but laugh at it. It was like making all of the dead butterflies that Asia O'Hara put all over the stage float behind her for a second, while Juicy is doing aerial art on the ground. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry, Ken. This was beautiful. Only for the lip sync. The dress is fine and the beat is good and the wig is amazing, but I just not a good week for Juicy. But what a great week for Juicy in a lip sync.
I just looked it up and it looks like it has been used in RuPaul's Drag Race UK season 3, which I have not watched, which is why
that makes sense because Bonnie Tyler, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, is that's Bonnie Tyler, right?
It is. Yeah.
Okay, thank God. I just had this moment of a brain fart of like, okay. Next up, we have the safety pin gate queen herself, Discord Adams. Now, as I mentioned before, she originally was going to be having this like undergarment that was red that basically production made it like a panty on her. So instead she wore these really high cut boots, these red boots instead. Everything else besides the safety pins were things that were in her box. I love this outfit. I think that it is highly creative. I mean, again, I agree that maybe not every single safety pin is probably necessary, but I'm also like, you know what? Good for her for finding a little wiggle room in the rules. Like I said before, to me, this was no different than finding a different stitching or a different way to put this outfit together. And the fact that she wasn't stopped by production means, to me, fair game. All's fair in love and Drag Race in this sense.
Yeah. You know, I thought, you know, as far as like the Bob Mackie inspiration of it, spot on. I could totally see where she was going with it. It was my favorite outfit when it first appeared out there.
Yeah.
Like I said, I watched the episode twice, and so I think I kind of missed the beginning part where she had, because during the construction of it, some of her sisters did have an issue with the safety pins. I guess I must have missed it during the first run through. And then when they said it on the stage, I was like, oh shit. Well, they did say accessories were a lot, but then I was like, okay, well, where's the line between accessory and part of the actual outfit? Yeah. And then watching it the second time, they had like been clocked it during the work through or the workroom part of it. And I was like, you know, yeah, I guess I can kind of see where they're coming from, but I still really like it. I really, really like it. I thought it was just cool. Like, it's so cool and so avant-garde and fun. And I'm like, I feel like a little bit of her sisters might have been a little jealous because it's like, can y'all construct something like this? Not to say that they're not talented seamstresses, because they obviously are on this season, but like, it was just fun out of the box, and she was willing to take it there and go there. And I wish that was like celebrated a bit more, as opposed to being like, no, she broke the rules. Get her out of here. Get her out of here.
I agree. And there's a part of me too that's like, I think that Jane's just jealous because she created an outfit that she literally could just put scraps of stuff together. And Jane was like, what the fuck? I actually have to like build a material and then sew it, you know? Yeah. So I don't know. I think that there's, you know, don't hate the player, hate the game. situation.
Exactly.
Also, I don't know if we really talked about this, but then every queen says Discord should go home, and they didn't agree with the safety pins and that kind of thing.
Yep.
Only to have a top 2, so no one's in the bottom. So when we start this episode, there's still people who feel a certain type of way about Discord and have been feeling like Discord, it was her time 2 weeks ago. Like, so it's just fantastic to see Discord owning her delusion and also just being like, well, the queens just don't get it. That's why I'm here. And
honey, they just can't take.
Better work.
They just can't take, honey. I live for that too, because I mean, yeah, I get it from the other queens. Like, they always are frustrated, especially when you're getting down to the wire, when it's like, oh, great, another week where no one goes home and I have to do this all over again. Like, and now I'm, because, once someone doesn't go home, it's like a reset. Now it's like, we're all at risk again. And so I get like having that frustration that someone that probably should have gone is still here, and now you have to fight for your spot when you don't think that you needed to the week prior. So I get it, but that's the name of the game. And like RuPaul said after he asked that question, he was like, you knew it was coming. Like, okay, like the double Shantae was going to happen sooner or later. Sorry that it didn't happen for you, but and this was a different form of the double Shantae because it was more of a double victory dance, as it were.
It was more like, we literally can't send anyone home this week
because you were all so good.
And I don't think that there's a better way.
It's the opposite of the weekend BB. Oh my God, Drag Race 11, where they all had to fucking lip sync.
Oh my God, what was like 11 people, 7?
It was like 6 of them on stage.
That was a moment. And then this week, she leads off the roast. I thought she was going to be a lot funnier than she was. Like in the walkthrough, I thought that she was okay. And then this runway, I got glimpses of what she was going for, but I just don't think it was 100. Like the outfit itself, not the orange, looks really cool. I think the orange could have had streams coming off of it in the back in a way, had a couple of different colors of, like, fire is not just one color. It's like, it's a whole spectrum of different colors. So maybe have like some of the parts that are moving
there's red, there's yellow, there's blue, there's white.
Yes, exactly. I think that there could have been something like that. Make it look like the flame. Like, I like the ones coming off the ankles that makes it look like it's coming out of the mufflers, right? I love that. So instead of just up here on the head, I would have loved for it to come off of the back of the torso as well. Like, make it look like she's so fast that she's creating it. So I like the concept. I like how different it is. I don't like the orange. I just don't think it hit the marks here. I felt like she was kind of meh this week, unfortunately.
Yeah, I agree. I think there just needed to be a bit more flow. I don't think that this material caught the wind the way that it needed to. It's just a big structured piece on her that doesn't really have a lot of mobility. So you're not going to get the same effect as some of your sisters when that shit is literally like billowing. This is not going to billow. You're giving it the appearance of billowing with the way that it's constructed, but it doesn't actually do it. And so I can understand why it can appear more stiff than it actually is when you have wind blowing on it and the entire structure is moving with the movement of your shoulders as opposed to the individual tassels of it all. That's what I think that this is missing. I appreciate the vision. I just think that it was the incorrect medium for the fire.
Yep, I agree. I just like, side note, I love that she can be so different with her wigs and looks and
she is a bit of a chameleon.
Yeah.
She's so like I see a signature Discord look, I know immediately who it is. It's instantly recognizable, but she can turn something else, and I think that's like underreported as far as the judges are concerned.
We also got a little bit of RuPaul coaching her in her runway walk last week, and I mean, again, we're seeing how there's a favoritism here in a way that is not like Georges winning the design challenge in season 14 kind of favorite, right? This is a I see a lot of myself in my punk beginnings, and this is so much a part of your drag. And I also want to see how you can translate this into mainstream while still being yourself. I want you to have this walk, but I also want you to understand how to turn it on for the purposes of doing a runway on Drag Race and that kind of thing.
It's kind of the rhythm of the night type deal with Crystal Method and RuPaul. Like, you just find that one little thing that he's like, oh, I like that about you. Let's keep talking about it over and over again.
It's his it's like his vocal stim for just those one people, you know. Then we have Nini Coco, who last week I genuinely had a hard time deciding if I wanted her in the top or not. I really liked this look and how different it is. I like that she identified this pattern of saying, like, this is the kind of staple print that I want here. And she uses kind of like, I don't know, like it gives me a little absurdist modern art, like a little bit of Warhol, but like not necessarily, like there's like a pop art look to it, but it's, I don't know, like it also just gives me more modern.
Yeah, it's like pop art with like some 60s influence in there. Like, it's very like a little bit of 70s. Like, it's kind of groovy as far as the color palette is concerned. I do like it, and I think that hearing the judges talk about the look helped me appreciate more than what I might have just at first glance, because I think that the construction of the sleeves obviously is not easy. The removable skirt or train, whatever you want to call it, is fun. And just the color blocking, I think, is really what helps this. And the paint job to match is fantastic. I think that it was just a story of other looks having a bit more pop to them, or a bit more, well, I won't say pop because it's definitely pops, but I think that there was just more drama with some of the other looks. And this one is beautiful, but I can understand why maybe it lands into the safe category. High safe.
It's like everybody else had chocolate and candy, and she chose to bring fruit.
Yeah.
You know, like there's something there that like I love the like Shakespearean sleeves and such. And there's aspects of this that we all feel safe with, but we're also like, oh, but this other one over here was a little bit more.
Yeah, but look over there, literally.
Yeah. I think oh, go ahead.
Oh, jinx.
Jinx something.
I think that there is a little bit of maybe the pattern doing a lot of the heavy lifting here.
Yes.
So I think that probably, makes her lose a couple of points.
I think for me, Nini's talent to paint her face to match her outfits is unparalleled in this season. I also got to say, the tight pony, the Ariana Grande 2016 pony with the material at the bottom of the pony is like, that is just also just like really giving me life itself. Just that one little aspect. I think Nini, just like so many Denver queens, is so brilliant with color. And I live in New York City, and we are not good with color here. We love a black, a gray, a beige, those kind of things, right? And when a lot of the other queens were given darker materials, and she just was like, I'm gonna stand out and be this pop of color. And I think that itself is like, she was like a berry sorbet before the next person came out. Like, she was lemon zest, and everybody else was given not as bold of colors and such. So I think that unfortunately went against her when I see it as like, ooh, this really, really killed it. But Nini is somebody that, especially this week, and Aman, if you're okay with it, let's talk about this week with her in the roast. She had quite a storyline this week.
She did.
We've seen it build up where, people say that, oh, she's bringing down the mood, or, oh, she's really sharp-tongued or whatever. Am I alone, Aman, in thinking that they're kind of overreacting how she saying things?
I that was my initial reaction, and then I was like, well, we're not there and we
Yeah.
don't see everything. So I'm like, maybe she is a little bit more sharp tongue, and not necessarily sharp tongue, because I don't think anything she said was really that cutting. It's more
Agreed.
so the just the delivery, and like it feels like there's like not like a lot of warmth there. It kind of feels
Like a
like
judgment.
and it kind of feels like she is um it feels like, like when you're kids and you're on the playground or in school and you have like this group of friends and you're all kind of like joshing each other and going back and forth, and then there's that one kid that like we all like everybody's friendly with, but like we all kind of just accept that they're a little quirky and they try to get in on the fun and say something, and it's like, you ruined it. That's where I'm like,
Yeah.
I think that's probably where Nini might be sitting right now, where we're cool with you and we like you and we love you and we'll include you, but sometimes you just don't know how to find that groove. And that's okay. Like, sometimes like not everybody is like on the same social plane, and that's what makes us human. So, and I like that she's very aware of it. I don't know. Again, I think that you are correct in that maybe they are being a little bit too harsh in some aspects of it. But at the very least, I like that she's receptive and she's like, I want to have fun, I want to kiki, but I also want to make sure that I'm not being a bitch. Like I don't want that to be my story. So like, call me out if you need to, but I'm like, I'm here to kiki and I want to be able to poke fun like the rest of you guys. So I think it's just the balance and just like knowing where to go. So
I was diagnosed with ADHD a few years ago, and then this past year was diagnosed with ADHD. So I have both autism and ADHD, and I identify so much with what she's talking about. I mean, as you were even describing, like the one person tries to join in, I'm like, that is me to a T. And like, I have been the person on the inside and have had other people. Like, when you find your group of people, there's always going to be one person who's on the outside, and sometimes you're the one who's on the outside, right? And trying to
I've been there too.
Fun and try to join them and such. There was an example of one thing that they did this episode where somebody said something, and she was like, and yet you chose to wear that. How is that? And then they were like, oh, here she is again. I was like, that is no different than the vast majority of what drag queens say to each other. Like, if you went back to seasons 4, 5, 6, 7, they were saying way worse shit to each other as reads and
verbally assaulting one another
with judgment, meant it as a mean like thing. And she's just like, and yet you chose to wear that. And I was like, okay, that's just what a drag queen's. I didn't even think of that. And they're like, oh, here she is with her sharp tongue. And I wanted to be like, I think you guys are putting, it's like a narrative that you've put out there that now you're just waiting for anything that is a semblance of that. That's how it appears and the way that it's been edited on TV, I want to say.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to put out there that, not saying that she is, because I'm in no way able to diagnose or anything, but if Nini were to be autistic, for example, that wouldn't shock me. A lot of people have this misperception that autistic and people in particular don't understand social cues. It's not that. It's that they don't understand why the cue is that way, since most of the time those cues are hiding the truth. Right? And so we will sit back and go, well, I'm trying to figure out what the code is of how I say this in the way that they do, but I mean it this way. And it's really hard to mix those wires, or sometimes to like understand why the joke is the joke or whatever, right? So I wouldn't be shocked if Nini is on that spectrum. If she's not, that's also completely, I think, like a universal experience that we all have, of being like, last night or when I watched it last night, it kind of was an epiphany to me where they said, it's like, you don't know how to read the room. That's fair. You can read people individually, but you might not be able to read the room. So if I'm having a one-on-one conversation, I pick up on the energy of what everybody's doing. I'm very sensitive.
Able to flourish a lot more. Yeah.
Yes. But if I'm trying to join in on the group and I wasn't
too much stimuli,
I don't really understand how to fit into it.
That makes sense. I like that you said that, because I've always kind of just like had the resignation in my mind that autism is basically just, being a little socially awkward, not really knowing, where things need to be, when they need to be said, where they need to be said, that kind of stuff. But what you said really registered in that, like, it's not that they don't understand why people might feel a little off, surrounding whatever interaction they just had with them. It's more so just like, a girl, I get it, but like, this is like the truth. So, or this is how I feel about it. So I'm just gonna kind of say it, but also like try to mask it so that it's not hard. But like, I don't. It's a lot. It's a lot of micro decisions before you can like say something. So
imagine living in a world where you were hyper aware and have pattern recognition above neurotypical people, but have no idea how to communicate that.
Yeah, it's interesting. And I wouldn't be surprised. And again, we're not psychologists, we're not therapists,
we're not diagnosing.
We're not diagnosing, but like, I wouldn't be surprised either. I mean, like, especially being that she's a designer, I feel like that kind of like hyperfixation of detail is one of the hallmarks that we see with a lot of people that have a taste of autism, as it were. Right?
I mean, this is the thing, right? I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if we find out that like so many people are. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if this entire cast were neurodivergent in some capacity, right? Like, I feel like we are now really understanding that for a long time we had a very narrow scope of what these spectrums meant, and that there are way more people, namely women in particular, but also people of color and queer people who have not ever, or heavy people who have not had their health taken seriously because their identity clouds the lens with which they're being diagnosed, or there hasn't been enough research into it. I say all of this just because I genuinely think that Nini is not trying to be a bitch, right?
Yeah.
And she is also clearly bothered by being told this, and to the point where she brings it up to Michelle in Atsuko, and she's also in like the girls. That's why I love Jane Don't for coming and talking to her.
Yeah.
Because I think oftentimes when people don't approach us and we have expressed something and nobody wants to come over and talk it through with us, it just makes us feel even worse. Like, okay, not only do we not,
and you're isolated, like
we're very isolated from it. Yeah. So I appreciate Jane coming over and breaking it down with her, because I'll tell you what, ever since I got diagnosed, I just brought this up as an example on my Blue Sky, actually. I have realized I have rules in my head, social rules or just like pedantics in my head, that if I just looked at it, I'd go, this is ridiculous. And yet it's been holding me back from doing stuff. So my number one was, I really like podcasts. So I thought I loved listening to my mom read to me when I was younger, but I've never looked at audiobooks because I've never understood whether or not that meant I read a book. So because I didn't want to tackle with saying I read this book when I really listened to it, I just didn't identify that as a legitimate means of reading. So therefore, I'm not going to listen to it. I'm not even going to pay attention. But I never really faced it to actually think about it, right? It was just a rule that I put in my head. Well, that's not considered reading. It has to be a little bit black and white.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, 2026, I started getting into audiobooks. I have, quote unquote, listened to the equivalent of over 77,000 pages.
Woo!
I've never read that much in a book in a year because I don't have the patience to sit down and read it. Thanks, ADHD. But I'll listen to it while I do other things, right? And it's just like that held me back from listening to all these other stories and shit. So God knows what are those different little things that we just need someone or ourselves to be able to like put the mirror in front and go, oh, I'm holding myself back from this because there's a hang up here that might be as small as, bitch, who cares if it's reading or not? You're going to get enjoyment out of it. So just do it. And then all of a sudden you give yourself permission and you do fine. So I feel like this whole, by the way, guys, sorry if this podcast has turned into Beth is just having a therapy session talking out loud over the course of this entire thing. Clearly your girl's been going through it over the past couple of weeks, but I just really identified with Nini this episode. And I just want to give her flowers because I think she's just awesome. And I think she got in her own way with this challenge, but still did decent. And this outfit and the story of throwing the ashes into the woo, Iman.
Yeah,
I loved it.
That was great because you got the swept away, you got the dramatics of the wind, you got the character, you got the story. It was fun. Iman, that had been the most billowing of fabrics that we got to see, but she still incorporated the wind into the storytelling of the outfit. I thought that was a wonderful way to go about it. So props to Nini for that. It was so good.
Props to you, mama. And also props for not putting a veil in front of your face, because you knew this was a moneymaker and you said, I'm not going to have anything cover that and get blown away in the wind or whatever. So everything was behind her, and the only thing blown into, I was going to say the only thing blown into her face were the ashes. That sounds... Woo! Okay, we are moving on to Jane Don't. So last week, she had Sierra's sabotage box, and she took all the material, basically patched this dress together so that it made sense. And like you could see the different panels, like kind of stripes, thick stripes and such, and how she had to patch it together. That in itself is just, I think, where she deservedly got heralded for her design challenge. Like, I don't really care so much about the dress. I do appreciate the sculpture of it. I think because she had to patch it together so patchwork wise, it just kind of looks a little funky in certain places if you really look at it from like afar. In the bottom photo, for those that are watching YouTube, amazing. But once the camera got up close and you could see that, oh wow, she really had to like stitch this together, and that's not even, and this edge is rough or whatever. I think she wins because of the challenge she had, not necessarily because of how this looked at the end. If it were to be the challenge and the look, I would have given it to Kenya over her. But as you know, they lip sync for their win, and she earns it. So
yeah, I mean, I think this is another one of those examples where maybe on camera it doesn't do it justice to the way that it looks in person, because I think that Michelle really did her a solid when she said, is that patchwork that was already there? And she gets the moment to say, no, I did all of that. And it's like, wow, the attention to detail is crazy. The craftsmanship is crazy, because like, when you really look at that dress, the way that it looks like it is like, it gives it so much dimension and so much like tantalizing to the eye-ness. Like it's so good. So I'm fine with her winning. I do think that she beat Kenya in the lip sync. I was Discord's my favorite upon first looking, for sure. And I still think that I enjoy it a little bit more than I do this, but I understand why this takes the cake, because it, you know, especially with the story that it has, like she didn't have a lot to go on and she made shit shine. So I think that Jane absolutely killed it for sure.
The fact that it's a proper gown too, rather than just like, well, I guess I'll make a bodysuit with these scraps. I mean, that is just truly impressive. The shape is just incredible.
That slit is it's everything. It's everything.
And just look at how cinched she is.
And those she be cinching, honey.
Jane Don't, what a queen. And then this, I gotta say, I fucking hate this outfit.
I don't like it either. It's so ugly. What is going on?
This is like the Pirates spoof that Jinx was just on Broadway. This is its off-Broadway spoof of Pirates spoofing Pirates of Penzance. Like, that is what this outfit is.
Yeah.
I did not like this. I don't get swept away. I understand the concept of it with fringe and such. It is. I don't get it. I don't like it. Jane in the roast, she's the only one who did a roast, and she killed it. She knows how to do it. I mean, delivery wise and everything, she to me was the winner. But Darlene, in my opinion, does deserve this week because, first of all, her outfit was better than this, even though I still thought it was a little basic, better than that. And second of all, Darlene's, as Jane said it herself, we're going to be talking about that routine. It's going to go down in history, RuPaul's Drag Race history. No offense to Jane. I'm not going to remember her roast more than I'm going to remember some of the other things that she's done this season. Yeah.
I think it was, it's kind of the consequence of being too good at something. It's like, okay, well, we knew that was going to happen, but Darlene, oh my. And this look, I mean, it looks also just a little too big for her. Like the bust size is like gargantuan, like the hips are like, it looks like it is wearing her as opposed to her wearing it. I just don't think that the dimension is good. And I don't think that it really blew that much either, because she said it was 20 pounds of sequins. That fan is not going to move that shit. Like, your arms are going to move that shit. So yeah, it just it doesn't work for me. Sorry about it.
You know what? I appreciate the swing, but sometimes we get a strike.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so that was it for the queens for the last 2 episodes. But before we end the podcast and our final thoughts about both of the episodes, we have our drag shout out of the week, which is Kyra Jete from the House of Jete, Cornbread's house. And this was submitted by Zamunda on Discord. Thank you so much. I had my phone here. Let me read off what Zamunda had said in the Drag Race chat. Now, as a reminder, we are trying to showcase drag artists from all over the world. So feel free, if you find someone on Instagram or you have a local queen or anybody who's doing good work, whether it be political, artistic, or otherwise, feel free to submit it on the patron Discord by tagging myself and or Iman in that. Or you can reach out to us on our various social media, which we will get to in a moment. So what we have here is Zamunda said, "Hi, Beth. I'd like to highlight Kyra Jete here in Los Angeles, California. She's the drag sister of Cornbread. I'm excited about her because she's a local queen who is consistently booked at multiple bars in West Hollywood. She's a fierce performer, and I met her last season when she was hosting drag race watch parties at Rocco's. I knew she was quote unquote, or sorry, not quote unquote, she was hashtag that girl when I saw her performing at a pool party last year for Pride, and she was dipping her head in the water and slinging the water as a part of her act. And she told me that she had to be careful because the week prior, she jumped into a split in the pool party and busted her chin on the ground.
Oh, shit.
But that doesn't seem to hold her back. So I wanted to make sure that we showcased Kyra Jete here. Obviously, when we've had drag sisters and mothers and such on Drag Race, sometimes it means that we might see them sometime in the future. So it'd be really cool if we got to see Kyra. Thank you to Zamunda for sending that along. And if you'd like to submit, please hit us up. We would love to have your drag artists featured next week. Aman, what are other thoughts that you have, whether it's about the lip syncs, which again this week was
Total Eclipse of the Heart
by Bonnie Tyler, and then last week we had Patti LaBelle. I'm forgetting the name of the song.
Me too. I can't remember.
Well, guys, don't get old. Actually, please get old.
It's like, yeah, die young.
Die young, please. Please never.
I love Total Eclipse of the Heart. It's one of my jams. And so I was happy to see it make an appearance here. To me, the lip sync really could have gone either way. I mean, both of them have been in the bottom 3 times. So I was like, it's really not a bad thing if either of them go home, given the track record. So I really wasn't pulling for either one in particular. Did Juicy win? Maybe. But if Kenya had won, would I have like cocked my head to the side? I don't think so. So yeah, it kind of was what it was for me.
I think Juicy handedly won this, and it just came down to that damn fitted sheet behind her. That's made of the material that you used to do the like tarp and rainbow tarp thing in gym class. It's like that material, but a fitted sheet, which I'm also now realizing I was like, that probably is like really comfortable. Anyway, I mean, that did the heavy lifting, and she showed us how she can even do like prop work and such and be doing really beautiful dance. Kenya just couldn't compete, unfortunately, with that. And that's not because she doesn't have the ability to. It's just that with that outfit, she wasn't going to outshine anything that Juicy was able to do once they turned on the fans.
Yeah.
I'm sad to see Kenya go, but I also do feel like, it's been her time for a while. I'm happy that she got to leave on more of a high note after the past couple of weeks. And I'm happy that we got to see a little bit more of her. She's somebody that I genuinely think that, again, age is the only thing holding her back right now. She can only grow and get better. And so I really hope that we get to see a long, illustrious career from her. Anything else from this past week? Or the week prior that we didn't discuss?
Iman, absolutely fantastic, absolutely iconic, legendary. I had two of my friends that I was watching with, also gay men, and they didn't know who Iman was, and I wanted to slap them both across the face. But, I didn't, because I'm growing as a
I am
person.
a basic white girl who wears t-shirts and like pants and sweatpants, and I know who Iman is.
Just disgraceful. So if you guys are watching this, shame to the umpteenth degree.
Oh man. Well, I think we had 2 really great weeks. Next week we have a makeover challenge with cowboys, it looks like.
That'll be fun.
Who
That'll
are
be lots
you
of
most
fun.
excited to see in a makeover challenge, and who do you think is at risk for not doing well?
So who do we have left? We've got Mikey, we've
So
got
we have
Darlene,
the
we've got
6 that we have left are Jane, Darlene, Mikey, Nini, Juicy, and Discord. I think Discord is going next week.
I was going to say, I think that Discord may have a hard time translating her look to another person, or maybe not, because it's very grungy and it does have like a bit of a masculine edge to it. So maybe it might be in her favor. By the way that the competition is going and the story arc is going, that's where it seems like it might be going.
Yeah.
In terms of like who's probably going to do well, I think any of the design queens, really. So Nini, Jane. I think that
Discord actually is the design queen as well. I worry about, does Discord know how to do that on other people and other shapes? Right. That's what I don't know. Versus like Jane is just proven she can sew anything. So I feel very confident about Jane. I feel very confident about Nini. I think Mikey and Darlene are the two that will probably end up safe, or win, because you think of like the Katya-esque kind of people, the people who can create a storyline with a makeover challenge or something like that, right?
Yeah.
I can see them fitting that spot. I am most worried about Juicy, I think, in Discord. Juicy could kill it, but I feel like coming off of lip syncing after a week of being safe, and then also the week before also being low, she's got to have the confidence, and she's got to be able to pull out some sort of design aspect to help the makeover.
Yeah. So I agree.
All right. Well, Aman, before we close out, if you had to choose who the top 3 of this season are, who do you think is going to be in the top 3? So you could do who do you think is going to be in the top 3, and also who do you want in the top 3?
At this point, I'm thinking it's going to be Mikey, Nini, and Jane. Who I would like to be in the top 3 are probably Mikey, Darlene. I'm going back and forth between Jane and Nini. I think I'll go Jane, just because she's had such a strong showing.
I think that the top 3 are going to be Jane, Mikey, and Nini. And I want the top 3 to be Jane, Darlene, and Mikey. But I don't know. It's going to be fascinating. I think that Discord, Nini, Juicy, Darlene in particular have a lot to prove in these next couple of episodes. And so, in the words of RuPaul, I can't wait to see how this turns out. Aman, where can people find you, and what are you up to?
You can find me everywhere at Aman Adwin. Matt and I are still going strong with the Diary Room. We have taken a couple of weeks off, but we are now about to go straight into round 2 of the Diary Room bracket, and we have some great guests coming up and some chaotic episodes that are going to be coming up over the next month. So check us out over there.
And I got to say, I heard who one of the guests were right before this. So you are going to want to tune in for sure. So make sure that you are following the Diary Room podcast. I was going to call it the Choir Room.
I'm always doing that. It's crazy. I haven't recorded an episode of the Choir Room in like 5 years, and I'm just going to say calling it that.
Years at this point. Oh man. And you can follow me at AugustaWind11 on Instagram and on Twitch. And you can also follow me at Beth-Dixon on Blue Sky. If you would like to drop your drag artist of the week suggestions, you can do so on the drag race channel within the RHAP Discord server. If you would like to become a patron, I know that we're halfway through the month, but consider becoming one. In the beginning of the months, you'll have much more opportunity to take full advantage for the entirety of the month. So if you want to wait until April, we wouldn't blame you. But being a patron allows you access to certain different kinds of podcasts every week, the patron community online on our Facebook pages, as well as on Discord. And we hope to see you there. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much to the RHAP team behind the scenes. I also want to thank you all for your patience, as we didn't have that podcast last week, but we are hoping every single week for the end of the season, you should not have to worry about a podcast coming to your eyes and ears. So thank you to the team behind the scenes for making it happen, and we'll see you again next week. Bye-bye-bye.
This is RHAP. We know reality TV.